Well, hello everyone. I am Billy Dees, and what we are going to talk about today is podcasting. Podcasting can be a great source of entertainment and information, but there are a lot of misconceptions out there about what podcasting is and what it can mean for you as a potential audience, and for those of you who are digital media content creators. So very briefly, let's call today's program Podcasting 101. Are you ready? Let's go. Although the use of podcasts has grown immensely over the past few years, podcasting in and of and by itself is really not that new. It goes back every bit of 10 years or more. In the beginning, you have to remember if you were listening to any type of audio, music, or what have you, especially on a mobile device, it was probably a storage device of some kind, be it an iPod or an MP3 player. The term podcast actually comes from combining the terms iPod and broadcast. Now, maybe the time has come to re-term podcasting, I don't know, but the internet and the way we use mobile devices has changed drastically. Phones are now storage devices. We can store videos, we can store audio, and to me, most importantly, we can now access the internet, which means we can stream information. Listening to a podcast is just as easy as clicking on your favorite video. Just as in the case of so many other forms of digital online media, podcasting has not only evolved in terms of the technology, but podcasting has also evolved in terms of the content that we put into them. One of the misconceptions that I run into quite often about podcasts is that they have to sound like a radio program. They have to sound like the morning zoo. There's nothing wrong with that. That type of programming has its place. But podcasting can be any type of audio content that you wish. A podcast is essentially a playable audio program that you can access online in pretty much the same way that you do a video. A podcast can be streamed, or in some cases you can download the podcast to listen to it at a later time. Now, being that a podcast is audio only, to me, that is a very important advantage because in this day and age, people are just inundated with media coming across their phone all of the time. There's blog posts, there's pictures, there's videos, and so on. You can listen to a podcast while you're pretty much doing anything. While you're on the treadmill or doing the dishes, a podcast does not require your complete attention. And in this day and age, that is a very important factor for convenience in terms of what is good for your audience. There are a number of ways that you can produce a podcast. Now, we here use pretty much what amounts to a studio. But if you're just getting started, you can actually get started podcasting using nothing but a phone and an app. Now, in my opinion, podcasts produced that way generally do sound, pardon the pun, phoned in. But there's some audio products out there and some audio interfaces now that are designed to work with phones and tablets, and they sound fantastic. In my opinion, making your program sound as good as possible is important because even though a lot of people who are listening to your podcast might be listening to it on a phone, there's a lot of ways now to listen to your phone through other devices, such as wireless speakers. And there are many standalone network audio devices in the home now. If you have a network device that you're listening to your favorite music service on, you can listen to a podcast. And in that situation, I want my podcast to sound as good as possible. I don't want it to sound like it came from some colony on Mars. There are plenty of ways to find podcasts. There is a good chance that your favorite source of information has on its website podcasts available. There are also apps that will help you search for podcasts in terms of content and subject matter. We are Billy D's on Spreaker, and Spreaker has an app. We are also Billy D's on SoundCloud and iTunes. Now, with all of this talk about podcasting, I don't in any way, shape, or form want to take anything away from the power of the written word. I believe there is a certain magic that happens when you write something, when you go through that process. And there is a certain magic that happens when people read those words. It is very powerful. But media has its place, and I generally try to apply much of the same philosophy that I do about my writing to my commentary. And that is, I enjoy lighthearted material as much as anybody else, and I try to provide that. But by the same token, I believe if you are really going to challenge yourself as a commentator or a person, you sometimes have to tackle the hard subjects. To develop as a writer or a commentator, you can't always write about blue skies and chirping birds. But that's not to say I want to provoke people or hit hot button topics. I believe that if you can challenge people, if you can make them challenge themselves and the way they view something, that is a much greater accomplishment than just making a point. I would really appreciate it if you would stop by my editorial website, which is real easy to find. It's Billy D's Space, S-P-A-C-E, just like outer space, BillyD'sSpace.com. You can also follow me on Twitter. Real easy to find on Twitter, at Billy D's. I am always trying to expand my network of bloggers, podcasters, and so on. So if I don't follow you back, make sure you tweet me and say, "Hey, Billy, what's up?" And I'll make sure that I follow you back. Anyway, I am Billy D's. I certainly hope you enjoyed our little Podcasting 101 session. Have a great day, and remember, the easiest person to fool is always yourself.